Hi there. Happy Friday. My name is Erica Anderson, and I'm here with Lisa Ramsey and Sergio Moreno from Bank Central. Hi, guys.
Hey,
Hi there.
Well, thanks for coming on our series today. I just really kind of wanted to chat with you over a few different things. First question that I have for you guys is just I had a lot of people wondering what can they do if they know that their credit's like not there? Like, what's the option?
It's really important for them to get in front of a lender, get their credit pulled, and see what needs to have attention. Okay, so there is easy ways to fix a lot of things. I have a lot of people who come to me and say, my credit's terrible. And then when I pull their credit, it's not as bad as they really thought.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can just get in front of them and pull credit, have an honest conversation, hey, this is what it's going to take to fix it. Do this, do that, or don't do this and don't do that. Because there are certain things we don't want you to do because that will actually hurt your score.
Oh.
and Lisa, isn't it
say,
usually like sometimes really like small things that you might not think for, like a really old thing that maybe has like $100 to $200 left that you're like, man, if I paid that, then it would be gone, right? Like
right,
they really do have to
right.
look at that history.
And then that could end up negatively impacting it.
Yeah.
Just little things like that. Okay. So like even just getting in contact with you, you could
Right.
get action plan and steps to take so that they could get on the road.
Yeah, because it could just take maybe a month or two. Maybe it's a 6-month process or a year. But it's better to look now than to wait until the time comes that you have to buy and start running around like a chicken with your head cut off. Because we need the time to make it happen. And a lot of times it's little fixes, just like you were saying, Sergio. Little fixes. And if you think that $100 collection is just going to drop off and go away sometime, it won't.
Okay.
You have to give it attention. It will not. Another collector will pick it up and it'll start the cycle over again.
Got it.
Yeah.
So definitely get in touch with me, get in touch with Sergio. We are totally open to helping you repair your credit and get on the road so that you can have home ownership here down the road.
Okay.
I think the one that I've seen the most, Erica, has been the one to where they left stuff in the past that it was like a couple of years ago, right? Like 1 or 2 years ago. And they just started getting credit cards and either secured ones or they started getting credit cards with like, low limits. And they're like, well, I'm making my payments on time. I've done it this way, for a little bit. They look at their credit karma and it's like, you're making your payments on time. And it maybe goes to like 80, like low 90%. But they don't go back to their history and say, what's really bringing my credit down? Why do I only have this? Like, I've done my stuff good for the last 2 years. There's probably something pulling your credit back down a little bit, and yeah, it's better to look at it. Places like Credit Karma, places that give you like an average idea, like most bank apps, they will give you an average idea, but they're not going to give you the detailed information that you need to have to see all these things.
So there's missing information. So like when I go on Credit Karma, I've noticed that there are some things in my past that don't show up on that, but they show up when I talk to a lender. So does that happen for most people?
Yes, that definitely happens for most people. And I can guarantee you 100% what your credit score is on Credit Karma, on any of those type of sites is not going to be what it is when a financial institution pulls your credit.
Got it.
Because we're registered with the credit bureaus telling them, hey, this person's trying to get a mortgage. It's the biggest purchase of their life. So that algorithm is much different when scoring than if you're going to go get an auto loan or you're going to get a credit card. Okay.
Isn't it like an average, Lisa, on like Credit Karma, or because it only tells you 2 bureaus, right? So isn't it like an average, or isn't it something kind of close, but you could be 20, 30 points off, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. You could be even more than that. I've had people say, oh, I'm at 720. And when I pull their credit for a mortgage, they're at 640. And again, some things didn't show up, just like Erica mentioned. And they go, oh, I didn't see that on my credit report. Well, that's because it's not showing on that report. So that's why it's important to get, if you want to buy a house, in front of a financial person.
And even if you don't want to buy a house, you should still figure out where your credit is if you plan on buying anything, right? Like if you plan on getting credit cards, if you plan on buying a house, a car, if you want to do anything, because there's going to be a point where you're going to want to get something, right? And you're going to want to run your credit. And you're going to be like, oh, shit, I can't. Excuse my French there, but, oh, well, you can't.
Right. No, I agree. You should definitely think about it. Mhm.
Well, and I mean, even in terms of just today, like so many people check your financial health on an array of different things. Like it's not just buying a house or buying a car, it's any sort of big purchase. If you're getting any sort of a loan or a credit card, I mean, anything at all, they're going to run it.
If you're getting, isn't it if you're getting like car or like home insurance or any kind of insurance, they look at your credit, Lisa, also? So that could also affect how much you pay a month for the average thing that you get insurance for?
That's right. That's right. And they all have different algorithms. So when you go pull for insurance versus credit card versus auto versus home, it's all different algorithms, and it's based on what that industry's focus is. So that's why it's important to have your credit really looked at and not just through Credit Karma.
Gotcha.
So, yep.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then on another kind of similar note, I had some people asking about like, well, I know I can't do, you know, necessarily, I don't want to do a forbearance on my home payment, like my mortgage payment. What about my car payment? How will that affect me?
That's
Don't do it at all. If you can not get into forbearance, don't do it, right? Like there's other ways to get through things, right? Like we understand it's a hard time. And Lisa, correct me if I'm wrong, but wouldn't that be like one of the worst things to do besides just letting them take the car, right? Like just don't.
Yes. I mean, really, forbearance is there for a reason. It's when you really have that tight situation, you can't make your payment and you really don't have a choice. But it's really not a way to go, wow, I get to skip a couple payments. Hey, I'm
Right.
going to forbearance. It's really not meant for that. And we really don't know what's going to hold in the future on how they're going to look at all these forbearances. So you want to make sure that if you can make your payment on an auto, on a credit card, on a home, you need to make your payment because we don't know how it's going to affect you down the road. So, but of course, if you can't and you have to go into forbearance, times are tough. That's what it's there for.
And at least it's there. I mean,
That's
it is
right.
an option. How about student loans? Do those fit into the same type of category?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
So, and unfortunately, I just had an associate tell me a story that a guy was trying to buy a home and he had co-signed for his son and didn't know that his son went into forbearance, and that affected his FICO score.
Yeah. And you know, right now, I know for me, I have, you know, student loans. And I know my wife does too, right? But I looked at mine and it says 0%. So even though it's 0% and it's not a very high interest, if you can pay it, why not? I mean, it's just going to go straight to principal.
Right.
You know, I mean, even though the
That's
interest rate is low enough and you can make the extra payment, sure, you know, keep making your payments, try keeping schedule, you know, your finances on time. It might give you a little bit more money monthly, right? But if you can, why not? Get rid of it. Get rid of debt.
It's not going away.
We've got to take it on at some point. So
That's right.
well, awesome. Anything you guys want to bring up? Anything you're seeing kind of in the market this week, or anything we should be aware of?
I've just seen a lot more people, you know, calling, looking at wanting to buy. What do they need to do it? Again, they don't understand it. You don't always have to have a huge savings account. You don't have to have 20% down. You can buy as little as 3% down. And you can also get gift funds. So there's so many options. So I would definitely suggest talking to a financial person.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
So,
you know, how are you seeing any like unemployment over there, Erica? Because I don't think people understand, or some people might not understand that if you're planning on buying a house, you know, in the near time, right, and you're maybe unemployed right now, you might want to look to, you know, finding that job again. Like it might be comfortable being on, you know, a temporary vacation right now, but when this is all over, people do need those jobs again, right? Are you noticing any of that in Colorado Springs?
Yeah, so there's definitely some unemployment, you know, hiccups. People are definitely out of jobs here and there, especially in a lot of the industries that were hit very hard. But I've also seen a lot of people really trying to like find other opportunities for work, kind of like you're saying, because that employment history is going to be a big part too. So even though we all know that like this whole thing happened and so many people became unemployed, there's still that job history component.
right. That is absolutely right. And you can't use unemployment to qualify.
Right.
So that's another key thing. So
Yep.
it's always just looking at your whole financial picture, what you're trying to do for the future. You know best what you want to do.
Right.
You know, if you're looking to buy a house, you're looking to buy a car, I should consider what's going on with my finances.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And then I've also seen, or I haven't seen personally, but I've heard some people saying different loans are falling through for different reasons. Have you guys been experiencing that with your company at all?
Not with us personally that I have seen, right? And correct me if I'm wrong, Lisa, but I have heard some bad stories from other realtors to where it's like a week before funding, right? And you're supposed to be getting like that 7-day, we're getting really close, and the bank's just being like, we're not going to fund this loan. And it's just like, wait, I'm supposed to close in a week. Like, what's going on, right? I've heard some bad stories, but Lisa, what have you heard?
Yeah, no, I've heard the stories too. We haven't had any of that at Central Bank. I mean, I'm sure that there are some stories about people who lost their jobs because we do have to do a verification of employment, 10 days prior at a minimum. Some lenders are waiting until the day of closing. And so when you do that, and if you've just been laid off the night before, that's a hiccup. But I haven't had any situations myself, and we don't put any overlays on any of the normal rules that are out there. What we're hearing in some of the bad situations are overlays by other companies because they don't want to take on that risk. So.
And that's what I'm hearing too. It's not the normal like, oh, something happened in my situation where I can no longer qualify. It's more of like, we thought everything was fine,
Right.
and those are always the scariest situations. So when something like that happens, it's not like the end all be all. They can still find another lender and just push things back to another date.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially if it was a choice of that lender and no hiccup on the borrower's part. So yes, definitely. And then try to find somebody who can get it done as fast as possible. And we are like that. We definitely try to accommodate those rushes.
Well, and you want somebody who's going to actually take you personally. And I know that with you two, I mean, especially, I know we've worked together, like, we see each other weekly and just have built that communication and that bond. I know that some of these other people and I'm like, oh, well, go see Lisa and Sergio. They'll take care of you. So it does matter who you talk to, and
Right.
should feel a comfort level when you're talking with a lender.
Right. Yeah. And we don't hold back. We give the people the answers, not necessarily what they want to hear, but what they need.
But the honest truth.
Totally honest. So.
Well, that's awesome. I'm going to kind of just, I don't really have any other questions for you guys. Did you have anything else to put out there today?
No, I think
PPP
it's a
still
great
open
week to
for me.
look at.
What were you saying, Sergio?
Oh, I was saying for me, on the business side, PPP still open. So small businesses that didn't maybe get into their other financial institution can still apply. There's still some money left. So give us a holler if that happens. It's kind of time sensitive because we don't know how long it's still going to be open. But if it's open and your business needs it, great time to do it. Let us know. But it's a great time to figure out what's going on with your financing and look for that house.
Definitely. Well,
So,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, Sergio, why don't you give out your phone number in case somebody hasn't had success with their bank getting the PPP, then maybe they can reach out to you.
Yeah, so my cell phone is 720-238-3835. And Erica, if you can attach it, to this video, that'd be great. They can always give us a holler, and that thing's just attached to me all the time. But yeah, sure. Anytime, even on the weekends, give me a holler because, you can help somebody out.
Awesome. And how about you, Lisa? How can people get in touch with you?
You can reach me at 719-205-1782, and I accept text or calls, whatever you need to do. Look forward to helping anybody.
Perfect. And if you're interested in real estate, my number is 720-799-4155, and email is erica.a@kw.com. So, well, I want to thank you guys again for coming on, and we will see you next week.
All right.
See you next week.
All right.
Have a good one. Happy Mother's Day.
Yes.
Happy Mother's Day.